Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the KIMBALL HOOKER Show. I'm here. I have my special guest today. I'm smiling from ear to ear. I'm just so excited to have her on the show. We've been trying to get her here. Yes. She's been on the calendar for a long time, but we finally nipped it in the bud and made it happen.
Yes.
We're here in Los Gatos, Monte Sereno. I'm KIMBALL HOOKER, your host. I'm here with the beautiful, the talented. She's blinging, sparkling, and shining and all of that. The beautiful Miss Niecey Living Single. Y'all make some noise. Woo! And the crowd goes wild.
Thank you.
How you doing?
I'm happy to be here. Finally, I've been waiting for this day, and thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah,
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
You know, you one of the top people I wanted to have on my show. I'm gonna tell you why. Because we know a lot of the same people.
So many. I didn't even realize it until we actually connected on social media, and I was like, we know some of everybody.
I know. And it was
everybody.
Just like,
I was like, wow.
How did that?
Right. How did we miss?
How we miss? And we in the. It's not like you working on cars and I'm working on buildings. You know,
we do the same thing.
We do the same thing. We out there in the industry making it happen, doing music, singing, and playing. And we definitely work with this, similar people too.
Very much, yeah.
So,
and that was the thing. I remember when I saw you, I said, "Oh, it's like you did something with those people, and then maybe the next week I would be with them." And I was like, "It's like we never are, not together. It's like two ships just sailing, separate.
By.
Yeah, but I'm like, we in the same arena, and we've never connected. So
right. But we here now.
We here now. They say you saved the best for last.
Save the best for last. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna keep it like that.
There we go.
So I'm happy to have you here. How did you get started, like with doing music, and where are you from?
I was born in San Francisco General Hospital, but I was adopted. So one of my adopted parents took me as an infant, then they moved me to Richmond, California. So that's natively where I grew up. But I am a San Franciscan,
That's what you claim?
Yeah, that's what I claim.
All right. You all heard it first right here.
Yeah. I mean, I love Richmond, so I claim them both. But it's just something about San Francisco. I feel connected to San Francisco. My parents, grew up and went to school in San Francisco.
Okay.
I just didn't get the opportunity. But it's still my city.
Where's home now?
Home is in Richmond.
Home is in Richmond?
Yeah, it's in Richmond, yeah.
All right.
Once I went to Richmond, then, that was home. So I got two homes.
Right. But your fans are worldwide.
Pretty much, yes. But actually, to be honest, I started out, I got more attention across the bridge from Richmond in San Francisco.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
So, and I was drawn to that because I was from San Francisco, being born there. I'm like, well, that's what would have grown up had things been different.
Right.
So, and when I would go there, I would feel a connection, but it was like a connection that I missed. Like, I didn't get to grow up here, but I was born here. So,
right.
Yeah.
How did you get started in music?
I got started in music, actually, and I probably will never find this lady, but I had a speech impairment when I was a little girl, and so I couldn't talk where you could understand me, but I could sing clearly. So my speech teacher created a lesson plan where I had to sing the words and so that's kind of how I think maybe I was humming. I'm not sure what I was doing, but I just remember her playing music, and it was like from there, and I was only about 4.
Oh,
and it was
wow.
like 3.5, 4, and it was from there that they kept telling my parents, she's gonna do something musically, because we can connect with her with the music. That's why I tell people music has so many abilities to reach people.
It does.
Because you couldn't understand me at all if I just was trying to talk to you.
So you had that bug at 4.
Yeah, but I could sing.
Right.
Jack and Jill went up the hill.
Right.
Clearly, you
Right.
could understand me, everything. Yeah.
That was interesting that she was able to connect the lady. She was able to connect that with your learning.
And she connected it, and so she would make like little songs and have me to sing it out. Then I would point the words out. And,
I love it.
Yeah.
Love that.
I can't remember her name now, but I wish if I could ever meet her, I would tell her how she changed my life.
Whoever you are, shout out to you.
Yes, shout out. Yes,
That's
yes,
right.
yes.
You
yes.
created you helped unravel a star before everybody's eyes.
She did.
Right. Okay. So you're 4 years old and you have lesson plans. They're musically inclined where you can sing.
Yes.
Okay. Now, how did you come into being like who we see you are today in terms of being because I'm like, my mouth is on the floor, you know what I mean? Like I see you singing and performing. You got your own style, your dress, your hair, and the way you put your clothes together. Who dressed you anyway?
Me.
Shit, me. I can tell. You know how I know?
Just me.
Because I don't see nobody else dressed like that.
No, and I always wanted to be like original, unique, have my own style.
I like that.
Yeah.
Do your own thing.
Do my own thing and just kind of stand out. I have a lot of friends. They follow me. They love. We want to see what boots you're gonna have on.
Right.
Or what's your nails what color they're gonna be. So I always wanted to do like something signature that kind of just sticks to you.
It's you.
Yeah. Now I have people try to have me to waver away from it sometimes. Like, why don't you just try this? But I'm like, I grew up a tomboy, so the boot thing.
I would have never thought that.
Yeah, I was a tomboy, so I had boots when I was a little girl. You know, that's all I wanted. So I said, well, I'm connected to boots just from my childhood.
Right.
And
okay, question for you. Now, when you're doing a show, do you dress according to the occasion?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'll pay attention to the occasion. Sometimes I'll be rebellious and think
okay.
what I want to. Yeah. I'll feel something different, or I feel like, Niecey Living Single is going to show up.
Right.
And I mean, the Niecey Living Single is the boots. That's and
right.
the nails.
And you let them know.
Yeah. And I say, hey, Niecey Living Single. That's Niecey,
I like that because you know what, you stand out, and people love originality. People love you for you.
Yeah,
they don't really show up to see. If they wanted to go see somebody else, they will go see that person.
Very much, very much.
So always be yourself.
I was intrigued. Believe it or not, I didn't grow up on our music, like R&B music, Motown.
What you grew up on?
I grew up on country and Western music.
Say it.
Yeah, and so I didn't see Motown. I didn't see Soul Train. I didn't see anything Michael Jackson. I didn't see him as a child or growing up. But who I saw was like Elvis Presley. So that's why I was intrigued with boots and the bling and because Elvis had a whole. As a matter of fact, I just went and saw Elvis movie.
Oh, how was it?
It was great. And my friends was like, "You going to see Elvis?" I was like, "Yeah." And I was the only one in that theater that night, and I was like, it may be on a few other people, but it was an off night, and I was just intrigued, like just to watch the movie because I grew up. I didn't get to hear I didn't get to see Soul Train and stuff like that, but my parents liked Elvis. They liked Nat King Cole. They just had they liked Dolly Parton. I grew up on Chuck Berry.
Okay.
So I saw those artists, but they had a different look.
Right.
They were more cosmetic costumes and
appearance was everything.
Appearance was everything. Yeah. So that's maybe what I adapted a little bit of my maybe odd look where they, so like I said, they'll say, oh, you need to wear a dress maybe for this occasion. I will do it, if it needs to fit the occasion, but if I can find any kind of loophole,
right?
Well, can I change?
Niecey Living Single gonna show up.
Yeah, Niecey Living Single was coming. I was like, this is Niecey Living Single,
right?
This is Niecey Living Single.
So growing up musically, who were some of your inspirations?
Dolly Parton.
Okay.
Yeah, Dolly Parton, the Beatles. I used to love the Carpenter Singers.
Oh, I love them too.
Yeah, and Nat King Cole.
Yeah.
Because that was the only music I can listen to in my house. Okay. I thought I wanted to be an opera singer, because
you love opera too.
I liked opera. That's what they listen to.
That's what they listen to.
And my friends would say, did you miss that? Well, I mean, if you don't miss it if you don't know anything else. So it wasn't like I knew anything else.
Right.
In my four walls, that's what was played. So I adapted to what I developed an ear for, and then just ran my family crazy because I'm thinking I'm gonna be an opera singer,
Right. Were there other people of musicality in your house?
No.
Really?
No.
No one else sang? No one else played the piano or guitar?
I was the only one.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
I was the only one.
Now I'm gonna tell you this: we share that in common too.
Really?
No one played anything in my house.
No one sung. No one played. Actually, remember I said I had a speech impairment, so thinking that I would become a singer wasn't even in their minds.
It wasn't even in your mind either?
It was in mine because I knew I wanted to sing, but I don't think they had quite the belief. You got to be able to talk to be able to sing.
That's what they thought.
That's what they thought, yeah.
Right.
And so I was like, nah, I changed the game on that. I changed the game.
We starting things. Musicians we're different people.
But very much.
We're different people.
And we get around those corners that you say no, we say yes.
We say yes. Yeah.
So you hit low, we hit high.
And music will take you so far as well too.
Yeah.
Because it's a universal language. A lot of people that say well, I love this, I love a little bit of that, but when music plays, you ever notice how it settles and calms the room?
Very much. I remember I had a friend that hit me up on social media, and so I had did a show. So she was saying, "Oh, I'm not shocked. Do you remember when we were in the 3rd grade and Miss Beacon told you to sing a nursery rhyme?" And she said, "But you blew it out the water, because I always took things and changed it and sung it the way I wanted
Make
to.
it your own.
Yeah, I made it my own. So I went theatrical. I told you I wanted to be an opera singer, but it took me back. I laughed. I said, "You remember that?" And then when I was 9 years old, I played Dorothy in the Wiz for like 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and from that, I traveled locally, throughout Richmond, throughout Berkeley, like any events that they had for the children, like Black History or Children's Month. I was at those schools. They would when I got to go and see Jesse Jackson, and I was chosen out of, I think, 5 of the schools at that time. I was 10 years old, and so we went and we had to sing in this program. Now again, I did a country and western song, so I was thinking they're not gonna pick me. But I won. I think it was out of 300 children.
Wow.
I won, and I got to go to LA and meet Jesse Jackson. Yeah.
Travel?
Yeah, I got to travel at 10.
Okay.
So I knew then, I was like, I want to be a singer.
Right.
I want to be a singer. Of course, my parents were more conservative, so they didn't deter me from doing that, but they just kind of like, that need to be plan C. You need to do plan A and plan B.
Were they more pushing like school, or what were they pushing?
Yeah, they were pushing more like school, like education and career. And,
okay.
But I always was just still, my brother and sister got it. They went to college. They got degrees now on their wall. When you do music, you just a little different.
Yeah,
so, And in my mind, I was like, I'm going to make a way. Successfully another way.
So looking back on it now, how do you feel about your decisions?
Oh, I'm happy. I mean, what I did was I did utilize their advice. Okay. So when I raised my family, I worked as a Head Start teacher. So I did go to college and get a career and take care of my family. But I knew then, I was like, the minute my last child is 18, this is done with. I'm gonna shoot for the start. I knew that. Yeah. I knew that. Just like now, I've raised my oldest grandson just turned 18. And so I had... You know
what? People looking at right now, your fans would never believe what you just said.
Oh, yeah. He's 18. He's 18 that, right? years old. Yeah,
we can't hear them, but I can hear them already. Saying, no, she's not. I don't believe what she just said.
He just turned 18, and I kept telling, my oldest daughter, helping her. I said, you know what? The minute he turns 18, that was in March. I said, okay, in June... it's my time. Right. And I love my daughters because now I'll say, hey, I want to do this, and they be like, it's your time, Mom. Right. But I knew then, I said, I'm gonna just do something a little different. So, you got your peaks and valleys with music.
Of course.
But for me, just to be able to do what I like to do or what I love to do, right, with no restrictions, I'm able to work and what they say, grind and hustle. But if the grind and hustle is fun, you don't mind doing it. Right, so I had friends that questioned me when I first said I was going to do it. They were like, are you sure? I said, hey, nothing beats a failure but to try.
See.
And I have something to fall back on.
Can you please repeat that?
Yeah, nothing beats a failure but to try.
All right, y'all heard it.
Yeah. So, and if I want to go back, I can just re-fingerprint myself and go back and go to somebody's classroom and pick up where I left off at. So it's not like I don't have something to fall back on. But I figured, like I said, let me take a dive, let me take a gamble, let me take a chance. And so far, I've been making a name for myself since 2010. Right. So it's been about 12 years I became Niecey Living Single in 2010, and it's taken about 12 years, like, to have people come up and call me Niecey Living Single, or Niecey and the Obamas. Branding yourself takes a minute.
Of course.
And you have to stick with that.
Right.
And you have to keep that going and of consistency. But when people call me that now, I'm like, yeah.
Right, because it sticks.
Yeah, it sticks, yeah. Like seeing my name up there.
Speaking of that, how did you get that name?
Okay. So Living Single, the show, was my favorite show. It still is. And they had a marathon. So I was watching TV, just bored. So I went to my Facebook and I just changed my profile name, Niecey Living Single. Now my name originally was Niecey Robinson. So my intentions was to change it back. But after eating and watching TV, I fell asleep. So when I woke up the next morning, I had so many responses to the name because they were thinking, oh, you changed your profile name. This is great. But I was thinking like, no, I'm not going to keep this. But it just kind of stuck with me. So then I thought, let me see what would happen if I just go from Niecey Robinson to Niecey Living Single. Let me see what that would do. Because I liked it. That was in 2010.
Oh, wow.
That was in 2010.
You had that for a minute.
Yeah, that's what I said. It took me I had been Niecey Robinson for a long time.
Right.
So knowing who Niecey Robinson was to who Niecey Living Single was took a minute.
To build it.
To build it, yeah. You know, it's like you're Kimball Hooker, but
Right.
if you just start saying, I'm Kimball Washington, when they see the face, they'll say, oh, yeah, that's him. But they won't recognize the name.
Right.
So that took a minute. So I've had people ask me, because the Living Single confuses people. I'm like, it's just a stage name. It doesn't say Niecey is lonely. So
that's what people think?
Yeah, they be like, but so are you going to get a man? And when you get one, you're going to change your name? I said, no, because this is my stage name.
They take it all
I said,
kind
this
of
is
places.
I'm not saying I'm lonely. Don't say Niecey is lonely and Niecey is looking for a man. It says Niecey Living Single, but it's behind the show. It's not
behind the show.
Yeah, it's
Stage
not behind my life. Yeah, I said it's a stage name. Well, if you get someone will they like that name, I'm like, I'm gonna need them to like the name, understand the name, because it's a stage name, and it would take me another 10 years to reestablish myself. Yeah. To become something like that. Some people have tried to say, call yourself NLS. You know, we tried that once or twice, but I said no, because people lock in through audio what they see.
Right.
You know, originally. And when you change things up, it takes them a moment to reconnect. But at my age, I don't have that time. I'm like, no, I'm gonna be Niecey Living Single, and that's who I am.
And it works.
Yeah. And I mean, I like it. You know, I said, hey, Queen Latifah was my favorite. Maybe she'll see that and be like, ding, who is that young lady?
Right, exactly. That's your end right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I like it. You know, I remember when I'm gonna take you back. When did we do our show? Because I know we actually had a show.
It was in February.
That was in SoCal, Southern California. You rocked it. You smashed that show.
So did you.
I
had to come before you guys. Timex, come on, man. I had to bring it.
I sat there in the chair. I was backstage, and I totally remember I was saying, okay, this is my first time hearing her sing. And I was sitting back saying, okay, I'm listening, and I'm like, is that the record? No. Is that her? And I hear the fans clapping and singing along. I'm like, oh man, she's doing it.
Yeah,
out there.
but I mean, the guy that when that Teddy Pendergrass came,
he wasn't no joke.
So it's like I have to go behind him.
Yeah.
And then open for you and time at Social Club. So I'm like, yeah. And I said, okay, Moni in the middle got to bring it. So it wasn't like I could be, weak about anything. In the room, I was brainstorming. You go out there, you got to bring it, because this guy, actually, I just performed with him this past weekend, or the weekend before, and our Legends of Motown group. He was the Teddy for that group.
Right.
But I mean, you've seen how he is he's phenomenal, but I mean, he brings it. I mean, so for me, I felt pinched in, but I loved it because I said, okay, you got something to prove. Plus, I'm doing Mary J. So
and you're the only lady on the bill too for that particular.
Exactly. I'm doing Mary J. and I'm doing Chaka. So it's not like I can, play around. No. But when I heard him even in sound check, I mean, he blew it out the water. Right, even a sound check. Yeah. Well, you did too, though. No, but you guys did. But so when I heard you guys, and I heard you in Timex Social Club, and then I hear him, so the first thing I thought was, you're going to have to bring this. Got to bring some extra. Yeah, so, I had to pull, that's why I had those silver boots. I said, where's my lucky boots at? I put the silver bling boots on. They was gleaming and sparkling, because I showed something. I was like, wow, she is doing it like that. Yeah, I said, okay, I got to, because I had a whole different outfit. I said, no, I'm going to go with my first instinct and put these bling boots on. I got to bring it. Well, listen, I'm Kimball Hooker. We are going to take a short break. I'm here with the beautiful and the talented Niecey Living Single. Don't you guys go nowhere. We'll be right back.
Thank you to the Los Gatos Community Foundation for their continued support of KCAT Public Media. Because of groups like the Los Gatos Community Foundation, KCAT has been able to inspire, educate, entertain, and inform our community through the magic of television and digital media for over 38 years. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Kimball Hooker Show. I'm Kimball Hooker. We're here in Los Gatos, Monte Sereno. I'm here with the beautiful and the talented Niecey Living Single. I was hearing you sing during the little intermission we had, and you was just on one right now. We was like, where you wanna be? I don't want to. Hey, I'm interviewing you.
Okay.
Can you give us a little taste, just a little something?
I will love you anyway, even if you cannot stay. I think you are the one for me. Here is where you ought to be. I just want to satisfy you. You're not mine and I can't deny it. Don't you hear me talking, baby? Love me now or I'll go crazy. Whoa, sweet thing.
Woo! And the crowd goes wild. I love it.
Actually, I just did a tribute to her in Thunder Valley with the Legends of Motown.
Yeah. I was listening to your voice. You sound so beautiful.
Thank you.
Chaka Khan.
Chaka, yeah, she's my mentor.
Right.
And like I said, my parents were strict, so I didn't hear any music. Nothing was played in my home that they didn't supervise. So, and we didn't have any like things lingering around radios. No, they were very strict and they supervised a lot of stuff. So I had my music class.
Right.
They played Chaka Khan, Sweet Thing, and I heard I Feel For You.
Right.
And I wondered, who's this lady? And they had like the pictures and stuff of her. And I think I was in the maybe the seventh grade, 6th or 7th grade. But I remember I was intrigued by her, probably because I had seen Dolly Parton and I saw, some artists, but never someone like Chaka. And
the times were different too.
Way different.
We ain't had YouTube.
No.
Come on now.
So they just had like an ebony magazine, and I saw the picture and I heard the music.
Right.
And then even with that, I had to sneak home, and it took me a long time to put the artist with the name and match the song.
Right.
Because I wouldn't know. But she just never left my mindset. Like by the time I got grown, she was some of the first music I went and picked up. I remember I got my first apartment. I was 19. And when your parents, well, the way I grew up, I was so conditioned to just listening to what my parents listened to. I remember I went to the record store and I grabbed like some Johnny Cash and, some Neville Brothers. And I thought, I'm grown. I can listen to what I want to, and I got my own place.
Right.
So I went back and got Chaka's.
It didn't hit home till you was 19.
It didn't hit home till I was 19 and moved out. And I had been living on my own for a minute, but my neighbors would laugh because I'd be blasting country and western music and singing with it. They call me country girl. Hey, country girl.
But that's a testament to how you're raised too, Lord.
Yeah,
and
very much.
Just the respect that you have for where you come from, and to take those values, right?
Yes.
You're right. You grown. You can listen to whatever you want to listen to.
Yeah.
When you left home, you still took some of those values.
Very
with
much.
you.
Yeah.
So that says a lot about your character.
Very
too.
much. Yeah. So I just remember I was like, put everything up on the counter, and I thought, I saw her picture, her album, and I was like, nah, I won't get it, because I'm not, and it hit me when I walked out the store, and I was like, I live on my own. I don't have to listen. I can play what I want to play.
I can play what I want to play.
Yeah, and I remember I played it over and over and over, and it was her range, just her whole vocal ability that
wide range.
I nipped into. She was one that I started listening to, and then I got caught into Luther Vandross, and so I started between her and Luther, and then my grandmother, before she passed, she got sick, but she gave me the greatest hits of Aretha Franklin.
Okay.
So I thought Aretha Franklin's first song was Pink Cadillac.
Oh wow.
And I was like, when she gave me the CD, it took me a minute to be like, oh, this is the same, because she changed in the 80s throughout her career. So she looked kind of the same to me, but because I couldn't identify with her earlier music, it took me a minute to realize. So I started listening. Those were the three. It was Luther, Aretha, and Chaka. But although I loved Luther and Aretha, I was still drawn to Chaka Khan, because I liked her whole ensemble.
Right. Everything that she represented just kind of grew on you.
It grew on me, yeah.
How did you come up into like doing music, like live instrumentation with a band?
Okay. So I when I was young, they took me. Do you remember the karaoke spot, Christie's in Emeryville? Did you ever go? Okay.
No, I never been
There was a karaoke spot that I knew nothing about. All my friends knew about it, but they took me there for my birthday, and it was a surprise because they all knew I loved to sing. So when we went there, I didn't know any songs in karaoke, except, I could go to the country and western, but I was like, I don't want to sing Dolly Parton here. Something is telling me like that.
I get that.
So, so then I sung We Are Family.
Okay.
Sister Sledge, I had learned that because we had did that song in church. So I did learn that song. I said, okay, I'm going to sing We Are Family. And it was a response. And so just summing on up, I stuck with karaoke because there were people that were very nice to me, and they put me in their shows. And I stayed in the background, like doing background work, at least maybe 15 years of my start. One, because I was too shy to tell people if they played Temptations or I don't know this song. I've never heard, I didn't hear this music.
Get it. Okay,
yeah,
I understand.
I didn't hear this. So what I did was I stayed in the background to watch people and to learn the music, because it took me longer. It wasn't like I worked with someone one time. They said, "Why does it take you longer?" I said, because music to update. When I started listening to music, I can landmark, hey, I was 21 when this came out and I was doing this. But if you give me something between the time that I was a child up until maybe like 86 or 87, I don't have anything to landmark with that. And maybe I didn't even pay attention to the song itself. So I can say, oh, I heard it.
Right.
But I'm not familiar with it. And so
that makes sense.
It takes
too.
longer for me because I have to first learn it.
It's new music to you at that time.
Yeah, exactly. And then because I missed the era, it don't just hit me. But when people see me, they they'll say, I know you was tearing the church up. I'm like, no. Not really.
Right, I get that.
Yeah, no,
you
not
totally
really.
missed that.
Yeah, like I grew up in a Methodist church, not Baptist. So
but you know what? That's what
different.
gives you your unique flavor.
Yeah,
your uniqueness.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So you tapped into you. Okay, so karaoke and the live.
Well,
band.
what happened is just continually doing karaoke. Sometimes you don't know how good you are, but other people will see the greatness in you.
Right.
So there was a singer and she had passed away. And so the group, the Dynamic Four. Now this group formed in 65, and I was born in 68. So that just lets you know how long they had been on the scene. So when they were looking for a new singer after she passed, somehow my name popped up.
Okay.
And so the saxophone player, Larry Lanier, his girlfriend said, go down to the karaoke spot and hear this girl sing. And that is how I got in their band. And from that, then I worked with Jesse James. I went to the Reno Blues Festival, was one of the first shows that I did with them in 2004. I got to meet Patti LaBelle. We opened for her. We opened for the OJs. I met Betty LaSalle. I met Lenny Williams. And for me, I thought, I am meeting all these people that as I became an adult, I was reading about them in magazines and never once would have ever thought I would be on the same stage or in the same, and how the band instantly picked me up. So I remember opening for the Spinners with them.
Wow.
And so with Jesse, we had went and did this event, and so the people were kind of bougie, and so I'm thinking like, how is he gonna get this crowd? Because I'm in the background, so I'm just thinking, and it was just what he did, and I was like thrown away. He went out there and he did the Hoochie Mama, and every woman there that I would have thought would have turned their nose up to that, they got the twirling and twisting, and so it was the way he did the crowd. So I just jokingly said, if you ever need a background singer, can I sing for you? And he said, well, you got a beautiful voice, you don't want to be in the lead? I said, no, I want to watch and learn from you. And that's what I did.
So you're humble. Wow.
Yeah.
You learned a lot from that.
I learned a lot from him. I said, yeah. So they would put me in the front, but I said, no, I want to learn and watch you, because I just saw you open up an audience that I would have totally been afraid of. Just, it was deer on headlights. They're just waiting to see what's going to happen, but I wouldn't have known what to do. And his approach, his style, he just glided into it so smoothly that by the time we finished, I was just like in, just in awe. And I asked him, so I just threw it out there jokingly. 2 weeks later, he sent me all his music. And from there, I just went, from city to city with him and the Dynamic Four. Anytime he came to town, I was the female singer that he would request to sing with him. So that was how I got into live music outside. There was another artist, he did tribute shows. And so my first show was at Jeffrey's.
Inner Circle.
Inner Circle.
In Oakland.
Yes, and the first show, I background sung for him. But then somehow I was pushed into singing a lead. I don't know what they saw, because I would think, no, I don't know this music, and he just kept saying, you can do it. So the song they gave me was Dr. Feelgood.
Oh, I love that.
Well,
Aretha.
the thing I was scared of, I was like, I don't know this song until it clicked. I had the greatest hits from Aretha that my grandmother that passed had given me. So I went back home and I listened to it, and I went back, and I don't know if you're familiar, they used to have a club called Tyrone's. It was Tyrone's, and I think it was the Bluesville. It was downtown Jack London Square, and they were right across the street from each other. And so I was to open for this young man, and I did it, and I'm thinking like, you are really crapping this up, and they gave me a standing ovation.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
That's a big story right there.
Yeah. So, but I still didn't have like total confidence, but I mean, that was like my feet in the water.
Right.
Then I really knew.
But that's where the ball gets started, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you took something. I love the fact that you started off with your own talent.
Yeah.
And then other people recognized it. You recognized it.
Yeah.
And then you have opportunities.
Yes.
You took advantage of the opportunities. At the same time, you could have been up front. The biggest thing I took from what you said is, no, I'm a humble myself.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I humbled myself
because
big time.
you knew there were things that were you needed but you didn't have.
Yeah.
You could sing, but the entertainment is
very
like,
much.
wow.
And that's the whole thing.
I never saw that before.
Yeah, that was the whole thing.
And you knew it. You recognized it.
Mm-hmm.
But see, look what it did for your career.
Yeah.
You see?
Yes.
Now you know how to, all that work. I saw that from my own two
Oh,
eyes.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So now you've grown and you become your own. Some people, you can rush that and it doesn't equal out.
It would be very much. I tell you, him, Jesse James, my biggest highlight with him was I opened for the Delphonics in March. And he was there in the audience. And he was like a proud father, because mind you, he met me when I was like shy, and he said he came to the back stage when I finished my set, and he said there were people around me screaming and yelling. He said, and I kept telling the people next to me, I started out with her when she was barely able to sing and open her mouth, and look at her now.
Proud.
Yeah, and he said, in the way I work the stage, and I told him, I said, yeah, but a lot of the way I'm able to work the stage is I had the opportunity to watch you. So I go into that zone of when I watched you, and I said, you were the first one that I saw actually open it. Well, I worked with a few other artists, but he was the first one that took me, and I was doing it consistently and on just a different level. You know, we opened it for a major artist, so that's a different level. And Jesse had, you know, I Can Do Bad by Myself. That was his hit song. You know, so he's a major artist as well. So that just put me in a whole different arena. We both were from Richmond, so you know that upscaled my credibility. And then the other thing, like I said, I didn't get to hear a lot of black music in my home, but by doing The Wiz, I got to hear Stephanie Mills.
Oh wow!
So
big shoes to fill right there.
Oh yeah. Well, I did my first Stephanie. I've never told people I can do Stephanie Mills. I just kind of kept it in a box because Stephanie was my she was kind of like my healer. Like I couldn't listen to a lot, but even just singing, I Wish I Was Home or The Lion, I could hear the soul in that.
Right.
So that's what I would sneak in my room and listen to and listen to her and listen to her. And so I think 2 years ago, I did Stephanie Mills at Pittsburgh, California Theater.
Okay.
And I did a tribute to her, and so people were shocked. You can do Stephanie? I said, yeah, I can do Stephanie. So I'm pulling it out more. I just did it, I think, back in, I think it was January. And even I was shocked. I Feel Good. So I had never done the song before, but I was shocked. I got a standing ovation on that.
Wow.
Me, I had second guessed myself, like, you might have bit off more than you can chew. You talking about Stephanie.
Well, those are some big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Stephanie Mills a whole nother level of vocal.
Yeah,
seriously.
very much.
And she's
very
a little
much.
bitty thing. I met her in person.
Yeah. I met her too. I met her too. Yeah, I met her too. And so when I thought my friend Greg Ballard, though, he gave me more courage because you know Greg. Yeah, he flew me out to Las Vegas, and I did a Stephanie Mills and Chaka Khan tribute show.
Okay.
So, and actually, I was only supposed to be Chaka, and he threw in there. I put on the flyer Stephanie Mills too. Now I had never told him I did Stephanie, but I was like,
he put it on there.
He just put it on there. So it's on the flyer.
Not knowing that you could do it.
Maybe he could hear if I could, but for me, it wasn't until whoa, okay, right. Chaka. So I mean, Chaka, yeah, I can do her. Stephanie. And but I took the challenge, and so I said, okay, I'll do Stephanie. Now we did the California Theater, and that was a tribute show. But again, I hadn't pulled Stephanie out of my hat to say I'm gonna be doing Stephanie Mills. But Greg was like, I want you to do Stephanie. Because when he heard me at the California Theater, he said, I've heard you emulate a lot of people, but there's something about, because I can do her riffs, I can do her, she has a unique voice.
Very.
Because I want to be an opera singer. Then some of those higher notes that she hit, that's easy for me, and I hear it, but I listened to her as a kid, just those 2 songs, just hearing her voice.
Wow.
So the greatest thing on that, I took a small snippet of what I did at the California Theater, and I put it on Instagram, and Stephanie hit me back. So I tell people all the time, if you think major artists don't watch us when we're mimicking them or paying tribute to them, if you make a buzz, they may be watching. And she actually hit my post and gave me a heart and a thumbs up.
Oh, wow.
And everybody was like, why you didn't put the whole video? I said, no, that's vain. I just put just enough.
Right.
But I don't want, because I'm not trying to be her.
Right.
I'm just trying to pay tribute to her.
Right.
And I was careful with what I said. I said, if you notice, I said, I am paying tribute to Stephanie. I'm not saying I'm Stephanie.
Right.
So that makes a big difference. So I said, she could have just been given even a thumbs up. Maybe I sound good, but I was giving her props.
Right.
Yeah. But
it was tasteful. You did it tasteful.
Yeah.
Very
but
tasteful.
just that because I went back to see, is this really her? And so I put it on Facebook. I was like, Stephanie gave me a heart and a thumbs up.
That's huge.
That was big to me.
Yeah, that's big right there.
Yeah, that was big to me. I was like,
when the original artist of, songs that you are singing, and they come back, listen to your work, and then they give you the approval, like, yeah, you did that.
Yeah, and all I did was, when I think of home, I think of a place where there is love overflowing. I wish I was home, I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing. That's all I did. That's all I put up there, yeah. And she...
chills up my spine on that one.
So,
Love it. Love it.
I was like, oh, if I could just meet her at Chaka Khan. I was like, yeah. I met Stephanie. I had went to New York. And I had went with a friend, actually Grady Wilkins.
Okay.
And so... he played for the Whispers,
right? Of course.
And so Stephanie and Tina Marie was the opening acts, and so I met both of them. And Tina Marie and Stephanie, hands down. So we lost Tina too soon.
I know.
And Stephanie, just to see her on stage now, that lady is remarkable.
She is.
Her voice, her stage presence.
Yeah. She did a lot of theater too.
A lot of theater, yeah. I went to go see her live when she did. My friend took me to see her live because in my church, like I told you, I was Dorothy in the Wiz for about 3 or 4 years. So that was a gift. And just seeing her live on stage.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I met her, I really couldn't say hi because I'm thinking like, I am actually meeting the lady that I grew up in my room, idolizing and just knowing her as Dorothy, not even Stephanie Mills. Right. Yeah.
Well, for myself included, just the movie, what I mean?
Yeah, just the movie itself,
yeah. I grew up on that.
And her son was small at the time, so I remember he went on stage and he and he performed too with
Right.
his mom, and I thought,
that's
yeah,
nice. Okay.
that was nice, yeah. And Tina Marie was great. Now that lady was great.
Right.
Yeah, she was. I mean, we lost Tina at such a
That was a long time ago.
yeah. So, but it's just a sad time. We lost it too soon.
Right.
And because Stephanie went first, and then Tina Marie went right before the Whispers. But the way they captivated the audience, and you know, social media wasn't as like it is now.
It was prominent.
Yeah,
as it is
so
now.
I didn't have nothing like, I could video it and then I could, look at it, and
Right.
but I just remember how they took control of the audience.
Yeah.
Very smooth, very clean. They didn't force it. It was like they just glided right into it, and I just watched everybody just like in the palm of their hands. And so I just thought, just like with Jesse, I was like, that's what I want to do.
We were all watching greatness
Yeah,
at that
very
time.
much.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
We're watching greatness.
Yes.
I want to say thank you for coming on the
You're
Kimball
welcome.
Hooker Show.
Yes.
You know, I'm staring at you right now because I'm like, my mouth is on the floor.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
No, let me tell you, the biggest thing it was performing with you. Do you remember? I think we did the award show for Alex Event Masters.
I do. I remember that.
Okay, and
Sacramento.
I remember seeing you coming in, and I was like, that guy can sing. But I didn't know you. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, we all won awards that night.
We did.
We did.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we all won awards. I think I won the Best Neo Soul award, singer award.
Right.
And I just remember seeing you. I was like, it's funny. Me and him have never, because I would have people, have y'all ever performed together? And I was like, no, we've never been able to perform together, but I've heard about him.
Right.
Or I've seen,
Right.
him.
And I saw you too. I've seen
Yeah.
you, heard you. Everything was like you said, two ships
Yeah,
sailing.
we just was like selling. I said, but I've never
Right.
been able to be on that stage with him. So when
Right.
we got to do that,
That was special.
That was special.
It really was special. We had fun too.
No, and let me tell you, just like I said, I watched, Jesse, you did the same thing. I watched you took that audience. Remember those ladies they didn't want to let you go.
Right. Oh, I know.
I said, if he go in the audience, it's over with. They're going to drag him home.
It's hard for me to stay on stage like that.
Me too.
And
Yeah.
just see them singing the words, and I'm up there. It's like we're too far apart.
Yeah, and that's when you went down, it was over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was over. And I was watching you, I was like, oh, he's just like Jesse.
Yeah.
He's going to go in that audience and bring them back up
Right.
to the stage. So by the time you finished, they were just all lined up,
Right,
at the stage. I was
right.
like, look at him.
Yeah.
And he over there, he didn't took the whole audience. He could put them in his back pocket now.
Take them home. What?
Take them home.
Right. I love the way you entertain
Thank you.
and just how you bring people home.
Thank you.
I always say to myself, when you get on stage, you never know where these people have come
No,
from.
that's true.
They might have buried their child. You know what I mean? They might have lost a home. They might have lost their job or got a divorce.
Yes.
And so music brings people together.
Yes.
I always say that.
Most definitely.
And you know that.
Yes.
And you zone in on that. And I love the fact that you say, you know what? They paid to come see me.
Right. Because remember, it was a little cold that night.
It was.
Well, not a little. It was a lot. And that little skimpy outfit I had on.
Right.
But in my mind, I thought, because I did the same thing that you did. I thought, I sung one song on stage, but I don't never stay on stage. I was like, no, they paid their money.
Right.
So we're going to freeze together.
Right.
So let me come off this stage in these blinging boots and and go
Right.
out there and dance with them.
They
And
love you for it, too.
Yes. And the love that they were given on stage, it was like we became family once I walked off that stage.
That's what it's about.
And then I didn't want to go back up there.
But that's what it's
yeah,
about.
that's what it's about. Yeah. Yeah.
Bringing people, like I said, people bring other people there, their friends, their family, and they show up, they see you. Who want to sit in that chair and just, with no interaction with the crowd like
Yeah.
that? You know what I mean? You want the
Right.
entertainer. That's your job.
Now, let me tell you, I followed you for a long time because I know R. Kelly has his whatever.
Oh, here we go.
But you did R. Kelly, and I went to that show. I didn't know you, and I've been.
You was there?
Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to know, who's this guy that can take his shirt off like R. Kelly? Everybody can't do that, because when I was told about it, I said everybody can't do certain artists because they got to have the whole, package.
Right.
So when I saw the flyer, I was just drawn. I was like, I had heard your name before. I was like, I'm gonna go check this guy out, because he has chosen an artist that is not. We're not talking about the R. Kelly that's got the scandal now. We're talking about he was on top of his game then.
Absolutely.
And he has chose someone to do. And let me see how he's going to duplicate this. And you killed that show.
Thank you.
I was there. You killed it. My friends knew you. I didn't know you, and I'm kind of shy, so I wasn't gonna walk up. I said he doesn't know me, but one day I'll let him know. He's probably be shocked because that's a long time ago.
It was.
I was at that show, and I was at that show. Yeah, and I remember you. I thought he is an excellent artist because that's not an easy artist to sing. And then he's not only just an artist, he is an entertainer. So you had to have the look, you had to be able to dance, you had to have the cockiness, you had to, and the arrogance. You had all of that wrapped into the professionalism, but you still was Kimball Hooker, and that's what I liked. Right. You emulated him, but I could still see the artist that you were. So I said, you know what, he is really phenomenal.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, that was. I just wanted to tell you that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was there.
I didn't even know you were there. I was listening to you now.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, I couldn't help but come because I just was, caught off guard. Who would have the courage to do R. Kelly? That takes a lot of courage.
I have to say this real quick. It really bothered me with that whole scandal thing. I don't want to go too deep off into that.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
I just had to say that because I love his music.
Me too. And I still listen to it. I still support him, and I just feel like if we say we forgive, then it's not for us to judge, and we make mistakes.
Everybody.
But at the time when you did that show, he was on top. He was on top of his game.
100%.
And for someone to say that they were going to do him, because your flyer looked like him. You had the vest on, and you had the, so I said,
wow, you remember the whole thing?
I'm telling you, because I was a fan of R. Kelly's, and I'm trying to think, who has the courage to do R. Kelly?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm gonna go see this show. I don't want nobody to tell me about it. And you did an excellent job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So now we have to do our own show.
We do. So let's make that happen.
We're gonna do that.
Y'all wait on it.
We here at Kimball Hooker Show, live in Los Gatos, Montesareno, with my beautiful and very talented guest, Niecey Living Single. You guys look her up. Where's your website?
My Niecey Living Single is on all digital platforms. So if you Google Niecey Living Single, everything pops up. And it's always Niecey Living Single. I don't change anything.
All right. You guys heard it first. You guys heard it here. Thank you so much for coming in.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And we will see you next time. And once again, tune in again. Kimball Hooker Show, live in Los Gatos. Till next time, see ya.
You just heard the Kimball Hooker Show here on KCAT Radio. Explore all our KCAT original programming at kcat.org/radio.